we're talking. Okay. So yeah, no Zoom meeting Wednesday, just this one today. All right. And we'll take it from there. Okay. So the first draft, right, of your essay is due Wednesday. Again, just to reiterate. All right. First draft is only 2 pages, as I said before. And make sure it's, just tell your story, right? First draft, like I was saying before, definitely not, really concerned about trying to make it into a perfect draft because it's the first draft, right? And you will have an opportunity to revise. But I think the main thing is for all of us is to get that 2 pages in. Now, if you want to go beyond your 2 pages, that's perfectly fine. But 2 pages is going to put us, at baseline, or it's going to put us, right where we need to be. And that'll, once you submit, right, you'll be done with that stage of the writing process. And then you'll be on to like the feedback and revision process, of this essay. So again, folks, make sure you get it in Wednesday. Don't say you got stuck. Don't say you had writer's block. Don't say your computer was doing whatever it was doing. All right. Just make sure you get it in. Getting it in gives us something to work with. All right. Even if you're not, all that confident in it, or, you struggle with it for whatever reason, or you think it's not your best work for whatever reason. Again, I can't stress the importance enough of getting getting it in. Okay. Now, all right. Oh, the first set of your reading questions has also been returned to your assignment folders, and they were good, for the most part. All right, but just a couple quick things before we get started today. One, make sure you're double spacing your work. Okay, don't even let me back up. Before that, make sure you're getting a proper MLA heading. All right, for your papers, or make sure you're using a proper MLA heading. Don't use header for this, because if you use header, it's going to make every page into page one. And when I say don't use header, I mean, like, when I say heading, this is what I mean. Okay. And you can see I'm not using header, the function header, like right here, not using that, because if I do that, it's going to put this on every page, and that's not what you want. What month is this? February? Yes, right. Okay. And then you can just call them questions. And this week, I think we're 74 to 100. All right. And then you can flush it back here. Now, when you do one more thing, make it really official. All right. When you add your page number, right, use page number. Don't use header for that either. All right, now we're official. So when you get here and you start answering your questions, all right, again, like I said on the directions, or that reading questions instructions document that's on D2L, you don't have to retype the question. All right. Don't waste your time retyping the questions. You don't have to retype the directions or any of that. All right. Just make sure your just your responses is enough. But again, like I said when we first went over this, try to put the answer, or try to put the question in the answer instead of retyping the question. Meaning, like, if you're asked, why does Trevor's mother, choose to stay in South Africa, despite all that's going on, your answer could begin, or you put the question and answer by saying, Trevor Noah's mother refused to leave South Africa because Okay, so you don't need to type the question, but you can put the question in your answer. All right, so for the next wave of these reading questions, right? If you type the I know sometimes we may be in the habit of doing that, but if you type the the question, don't do that anymore. Don't waste space, and then don't waste time. All right, so you don't need to type the questions, and then also don't forget to answer all of the questions. Okay, don't forget to answer all of the questions. Yeah, make sure you do that, and then don't forget the vocab terms. At the end of the page. All right, and then finally, um, you know, as I was explaining before, when we went over reading questions before you all did your first batch. And I was saying how the questions are not busy work, or they're not, really geared or designed for me to be checking up, or the purpose is not for me to be checking up to make sure you're doing the reading. Again, the goal of your reading questions is just to get you in that practice of discussing the text and writing. So when you see questions that begin with the word like discuss, or a question that begins explain, all right, that's what that means. That means like use some specific details from the text, but also flesh out your idea. Discuss means you need more than one sentence. Okay, explain, same thing, you need more than one sentence. So just get yourself in the habit of really trying to flesh out your ideas, because excuse me, once we're done with our instructor chosen essay, you're going to write an essay about the book, and then your impromptu exam at the end of the semester is all about the book as well. So the reading questions are really, engineered to help you practice, just discussing our text and writing. So I think, for the next wave of reading questions, try taking that approach. Okay, don't look at it as busy work, or don't look at it as this is something I need to do just so I can get it done. Look at it as, I need to get something out of this assignment. Okay, I need to get a good practice out of this assignment. All right, even if there's something that you don't quite understand, that's cool. Try your best to answer. Okay, try your best to answer. But I think the main thing, or one of the main things we can do, or we can all focus on, like before you even start responding to the questions, make sure your formatting is right. Okay, this is a proper MLA heading, is properly double spaced, and check the font. Boom, 12 Times New Roman. All right. So again, try to get all that hashed out beforehand. Okay. It's making life a little bit easier, right? And like I think I was saying before, like some people in my previous classes, they would just use the same document, where so like if they turn this in this week, next week they would just break out the same document and say, hey, we change the date. Okay. We change the pages. All right. And then they would just get busy. All right, because everything is already formatted. Okay, but that's up to you. I just say, make sure you're formatting your work properly. All right, and again, like I was saying before, try to make MLA a habit. Okay, whenever you open a Word doc, just get your name, instructor name, class, and date on the left, your last name and page number on the right. Okay, and then finally, I know I said finally a couple points ago, but this is the last point about your reading questions. Again, make sure you proofread them. Okay, it's worth taking that extra 5-10 minutes at the end just to go back over your answers to catch really things that you may have done because you were moving too fast, or maybe you got distracted for a moment or whatever. But yeah, just make sure you go back through and proofread your responses. Again, don't, and this is just in college in general, but especially in this class, don't do things just to get it done. All right, don't do things just because they're deadlines. Don't do assignments just because they're assigned. Do them with a purpose, like you want to get something out of it. Okay, and what we're getting out of our reading questions is a great practice.
Sir, I don't mean to interrupt you,
Yes.
but since you didn't hit the record button yet, can I record you telling me how to put the Norwood one in the corner?
Oh yeah. No, I'm recording right now, but I
Okay,
can
I
go through.
didn't see it on there, but okay, my bad.
Yeah. All right. But let's do it again. Okay, let's start from scratch. I don't have an issue with that, definitely. Okay, so the first thing, okay, make sure you're in the right font, Times
Yes.
New Roman, 12 point. Boom. This will be your name.
Right.
Okay,
Yes,
this will be my name. I'm not only the Hair Club president, I'm also a client.
sir.
Yeah,
Come on, you can't be that old, sir.
you remember that old, you remember those commercials. You remember those? All right. The class. Okay, that's not the right class. This is the right class. And then the date. So name, instructor name, class, and date.
Okay.
All right. And then to get your, I don't know why that went down there. To get your page number up here, you just want to go insert and you want page number. And then we want top of page and plain number 3.
Okay. And then just add your name in there.
There we go. Now we're ready.
And then add your name in there, sir.
Your name, yep, this will be your name though.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yep, this will be your last name.
Because I did it where the one was down in the
Yeah, that's
Look.
cool. Just go top of page from now on.
okay.
All right. So yeah. Okay. So yeah, folks, let's make sure we get our formatting formatted. All right. So now let's change directions just a little bit. Okay. What's today? Yeah, today's Monday. Okay, last time I checked. All right. Last week we talked about a couple things, but the main things we talked about were writing process and sentence structure. Okay, or sentence structure and writing process. I remember we went in that order. And we're going to continue that discussion by furthering a little bit by talking about the next step. All right, because sentences, you put a bunch of them together and that makes a paragraph. Okay, and that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today. Paragraphing. All right, and I think before we even have this discussion about paragraphing, one thing I want you all to do is sort of cast off everything that you've learned in the past about how long a paragraph should be. 4 to 6 sentences, 3 to 5 sentences, 7 to 10 sentences, 8 to whatever. All of those numbers are right. Okay, all of those numbers are, they can be wrong as well. And what I'm saying is, like, there's no predetermined number of sentences a paragraph should have. Okay, some of them will be 10 sentences, some of them will be 4 sentences, 3 sentences. Okay, so try not to think of paragraphs in terms of how long they should be, or again, like I said, a predetermined number of sentences. Start thinking about paragraphs in terms of what qualities they have. Okay, and I'll tell you those qualities in a minute. First thing we have to do is log into our textbooks though. Okay, I'm already signed in, but again, you can just go, if you can see my mouse moving around up here, digitalwwnorton.com/littlesiegel3. Okay, this should start to become old, or should be starting to become old news for us, meaning like how to get logged into our textbook. But if you still need that assist, all right, here's the web address. Boom. Here's the web address, and then get yourself signed in. All right. One thing as well, I think we registered our books maybe 2 weeks ago. So if you're using the trial version, you got about a week left before you have to make a move. So just be mindful of how many days you have left if you are using the trial version of our textbook. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and sign myself in and click on ebook. All right, so I'm here just going into ebook, which is our our textbook, as you guys know. And then I'm coming down here. Wait, this isn't your class. This is your class. There we go. Okay, coming down here to developing paragraphs. Ooh. Okay, and that takes us to page 17, but that's neither here nor there if you're using the ebook. Again, folks, how did I get here? I just went into ebook, and then I'm going developing paragraphs W4. Okay. W stands for writing, in case you were curious. Okay. All right. Um, I'm gonna do something else also. If you go to, you don't have to do it now, you can just follow along with me. But if you go into D2L in content, the material I'm about to cover it's in our textbooks, but I'm also going to use some material from this week 4 module. All right. And the material that we don't cover tonight is just material that, is kind of made to supplement, our discussion that we're about to have. Okay. So I have some stuff about annotation. Again, I've been putting things in my annotation in most of our early modules just to kind of give you some different strategies. All right. And then the rest, not the rest, but the next 4 items are about commas. Wait, 1, 2, 3. Oh, the next 3 are about commas, comma usage. Okay, comma usage. Once you guys get a draft in, we'll have a more in-depth discussion about one, how to use, like when to use commas, and then I think more importantly, and this is something I see a lot in writing, and not just in this class, but in all of my classes, just like unnecessary commas. People love the comma, man. People want to abuse it, just want to throw it in anywhere. All right. So we'll talk more about, when it's appropriate to use a comma. All right, but here's our material today. Okay. This is about paragraphing, but we're going to cover. Actually, let me download these slides right now. Actually, I may not need to download them because I've been looking at this stuff most of the day. So, documents. Paragraphing strategies. So if you are on D2L and you're in the week 4 module, the slides, paragraphing strategies. Also, if you find yourself wanting to hear more of the sound of my voice, this video is actually me going through these slides. All right, so we won't look at all the slides tonight, but if you want just a video of me, if you want to go through all of them, this is the video guide. Okay. So I got paragraph. Yeah, I already have it open. Okay. So let me just get back in our book real quick. Now, I just asked you, okay, not to think about paragraphs in terms of a set length, like 4 to 6 sentences, 3 to 5 sentences. And sometimes thinking about all that as you're writing it can be a hindrance in a lot of ways, because you might have this great paragraph going and you're really happy with the way it's coming together, but you look at it, it's like, oh man, this is 7 sentences. Okay, I need to get rid of 2 of these, right? So I think when we think about paragraphs in terms of it has to be a certain number of sentences, I think that can hold us back in a way. Now, can a paragraph be too long? Absolutely. Absolutely. But oftentimes a paragraph is too long when it discusses multiple ideas, which is it leads me into the first point about paragraphs, or the first characteristics of paragraphs that we should be taking into consideration. Instead of length, think of paragraphs in terms of unity. Okay, so unity is one of the main characteristics of a successful paragraph. Unity. What does unity mean? Unity means that you only discuss one idea. Every sentence in that paragraph serves this one idea. Okay, you're not going off on tangents. All right, everything in that paragraph, or every sentence in that paragraph belongs there. Okay, and our textbook focuses on the main point. It says focusing on the main point. And really, for the main point is usually your topic sentence. But for the essays that you all are about to write, personal essays, sometimes you have a little bit of leeway or a little bit of freedom or a little bit of flexibility, I should say, when it comes to your topic sentence. Okay, sometimes a narrative topic sentence is implied, or sometimes it's just you like continuing with your discussion of this experience you're going to be relating to your audience. I would just say the main thing is, or one of the things we should keep in mind is not to deviate from what we're talking about in that paragraph. Meaning, if we're talking about spending the summer with our grandparents or whatever, that's what that paragraph should be about, nothing else. Okay, don't go off on tangents, don't have little, I guess, sometimes things just come to us and we want to insert them into our work. All right, so let's look at this paragraph. Boom. Okay, and this is one of our books enhancements. All right, if you click on it, bam, it tells you what it is. Topic sentence. Also, if you click on this, it tells you what a topic sentence is. Okay, again, that's one of the great things about ebooks. So it is a trade-off, if you like books in your hands, which I do. All right, but ebooks are okay too. All right, but physical books don't have these enhancements. Topic sentence tells you what it is. And this goes for anything in our book that's highlighted. You can just click on it and you'll get a quick definition for it. Okay. Well, let's look at this paragraph. This paragraph is unified. Okay. Dialysis is harsh, expensive, and worst of all, only temporary. Okay. Now, as writers, we just told our reader what this paragraph is going to be about. Essentially, we're saying that dialysis is unpleasant. All right. So if we lead with that, or if we want that to be our controlling idea, then that's the only thing we're going to discuss in that paragraph. Again, every sentence in our paragraph should contribute to this idea or whatever the main idea is. Okay. Acting as an artificial kidney, dialysis mechanically filters the blood of a patient. Harsh. It works, but not well. Okay. Only temporary. With treatment sessions lasting 3 hours several times a week, those dependent on dialysis are, in a sense, shackled to a machine for the rest of their lives. Harsh. And that can get expensive. And it's temporary. Adding excessive stress to the body, dialysis causes patients to feel increasingly faint and tired, usually keeping them from work and other normal activities. Okay. Chemotherapy is harsh as well. Now, if we were to add that sentence in our paragraph, chemotherapy is equally as harsh, right? And chemotherapy is harsh, all right? But it doesn't have anything to do with the main idea in this paragraph. Okay? So again, when you're working or when you're writing a paragraph, you're just sticking to that idea. Just imagine like the controlling idea of a paragraph, kind of being this invisible, or better yet, it's kind of like a coloring book. Okay, where you have to color inside of the lines, and the way you color inside of the lines is having sentences in your paragraph that all could contribute to the main idea. If you have a sentence in there that doesn't belong, then you have colored outside the lines. Okay, and sometimes that's cool, but in writing it's not cool. Okay, now this is more along the lines of what we're writing. All right, a narrative, which is a strategy for presenting information as a story, for telling what happened. Okay, that's exactly what we're going to be doing in our first essay, right? What's the experience you went through? And then how did it impact you? Or what did you learn from that experience? Okay, you're going to have to tell a story in order for that, for that essay to be successful. Okay, so this is an example of a unified paragraph that is in a narrative, meaning it's telling a story. Just because we're writing a narrative, doesn't we can break no, we can bend the rules a little bit for a narrative, meaning we don't necessarily have to have explicitly stated topic sentences in a narrative, but okay, your paragraphs do have to show some unity. Okay, paragraphs do have to show some unity. Okay, I came to the US in 1963 at age 3 with my family and immediately stopped speaking Spanish. So we know this paragraph is going to be about language. Okay, why? Because our writer let us know in the controlling idea. College educated and seamlessly bilingual when they settled in West Texas. My parents, a psych instructor, or excuse me, a psych professor and an artist, wholeheartedly embraced the notion of the American melting pot. They declared their children would speak nothing but English. They read in English, or excuse me, they read in English, write in English, and fit into Anglo society beautifully. Okay. This paragraph tells a story of how, this writer stopped speaking English, or it gets started, on that story. Okay, I'm sure if we were to read Se habla español, there's more to it than this, but this is a good unified paragraph. And, it's relatively short. Your paragraphs don't all have to be this length, of course. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4 sentences. Okay, 4 sentences. And now this student can move, or this writer can move on to the next paragraph. Again, do your paragraphs all have to be 4 sentences? Of course not. But this 4 sentences, okay, it just speaks directly to the point that she's making. All right. And, as our book tells us, boom, sticks to the main point. Okay. Sticks to the main point. All right. Now, if we look at this one, okay, if we look at this one, this example, okay, it's an example of a paragraph that's not unified. And se habla español, Tania Maria Barrientos. Note some of the difficulties she encounters as a Latina who is not fluent in Spanish. Previous generations of immigrants were encouraged to speak only English. Okay. Okay. Now he went off the rails a little bit. Okay, we went off the beaten path. All right. Now, this is true, probably. Previous generations of immigrants were encouraged to speak only English, but it's not connected to Tanya's paragraph or Tanya's main idea. Okay. When someone poses a question to her in Spanish, you see how there's this sentence, which is the distracting sentence, but then the very next sentence, it continues this idea, not fluent in Spanish. All right. So this notion, previous generations, this is a distraction from the writer's main point. When someone poses a question to her in Spanish, she often has to respond in English. In other instances, she tries to speak Spanish, but falters over the past and future tenses. Situations like these embarrass Barrientos and make her feel left out of a community she wants to be a part of. Native Guatemalans who are bilingual do not have such problems. Okay, maybe they don't, but again, nothing to do with, this story, that Tania Maria is telling. Okay, so again, folks, the first characteristic that we need to be thinking of when we think of paragraphs, and I'm speaking of body paragraphs. Let me clarify that. Body paragraphs, because introductions and conclusions sometimes follow their own rules, or at least they don't have to follow all of these rules that I'm about to tell you. Okay, so the first characteristic, though, is unity. Unity just means everything or every sentence in that paragraph serves one idea. Okay, one idea. When you want to start discussing a new idea, start a new paragraph. Okay, now here's some additional examples. Unity, unified paragraph develops one key idea. All right, so let's look at this thing. Okay, let's look at this. Here's an example of a paragraph. All right, again, the bold sentence is our topic sentence, or it's the controlling idea of the paragraph, the main idea. Okay, when using a calendar to budget time, it is important to think about how long certain activities will take. Okay, so we as writers just told our audience what this paragraph is going to be about. Pretty much, don't over or underestimate, the amount of time you have, when trying to complete, when making a schedule. That's good advice too. It's good advice too. Okay. When you're making the schedule, always allow for more time than you need. Okay. A common mistake is to underestimate the time needed to do something, even something simple. Okay. We're moving in the right direction. That's connected. For example, when planning the time needed to get cash from the ATM, remember that there may be a line of people. You're right. Okay, this writer's right. All right, now let's keep going. Uh-oh. Last week in line, I met a woman I went to high school with, so we chatted. It turns out she has 2 children just the same age as mine. Now, in our own minds, or in this writer's own mind, there may be a connection there. You know, I'm talking about being in line at the ATM, right? And I saw somebody I went to school with. Let me put that in my paragraph. Okay. But again, you know, what's the connection to budgeting your time? Okay. So again, when you're going back over your paragraphs or when you're revising your essay and you're checking your paragraphs for Unity, you know, check to see if there are sentences that don't belong. And if you do have sentences that don't belong, that doesn't mean you have to wipe these sentences from the face of the earth. Okay, that just means that these sentences could go in another paragraph. Okay, a lot of times on papers, you know, I'll write. Okay, the space heater was getting a little too hot. A lot of times, you know, I'll write on a paper, you know, practice paragraph Unity, and then I may highlight a sentence and say, you know, this sentence is a little bit out of place here. Okay. Or, you know, as we get further into writing, I'll just ask you or just, you know, instruct you like, hey, you know, check this paragraph for Unity. That means there's something there that doesn't belong. Okay. When estimating time for a more complex activity, such as reading a chapter of a textbook, block out more time than the activity requires. Okay, now we're back on track. Doing so will provide additional free time if the task does not take longer as long as projected. Okay. One should also allow for interruptions because it is better to allow too much time than too little. Okay. Paragraph unity just means, you know, everything is unified around one idea. Okay. And you don't have sentences in there that don't belong. And I think a good way to judge that is to try to put yourself in your reader's shoes. Because again, most of what we write makes sense to us because we understand the connections we're making. Okay, we understand, you know, how certain ideas will fit into a paragraph, but we have to put ourselves in our reader's shoes because they aren't going to make the same connections we're making. Okay, here's another little one, another example. Football has always been important to me, and this is more of a narrative style. Football has always been important to me. Okay, so we know this paragraph is going to be about the importance of football to this person. Okay, American football, not soccer. Okay, or it could be soccer. It's up to you. When I was a kid, it kept me out of trouble. While other kids were out getting into mischief, I was at practice. Okay, again, all keeping in line with this notion of football being important. Football also helped me keep my grades up because my parents wouldn't let me play if I didn't have at least a B average. And when I got to high school, I had to keep a certain GPA to be eligible. Okay, still showing how football is important. Very good. On the field, I learned sportsmanship, discipline, and how to be a team player. Should say, and how to be a team player. Okay. I also played basketball growing up too, which was fun. The most important lesson I learned from football is bouncing back from losses. In life, we don't win every time. What we do when we lose makes all the difference. Now, okay, number 6, right? Out of place. I mean, we're still talking about a sport, you know, that this student played when they're in their childhood, but you know, everything else in this paragraph is about football. So this one sentence about basketball is a distraction. Okay. So unity, unity, unity. That is the first characteristic of a successful paragraph. Okay, we're going to come back to strategies for development. Okay, now First characteristic of a good paragraph is unity. Second one is coherence. Man, I wish I had a rubber stamp that says practice strategies for paragraph coherence, because it's I put that on a lot of papers, and not just, you know, English 1060, 1510, 1520, 2570, you know, pretty much all of my classes. Okay. And when we think coherence, we're just thinking, or what's meant by coherence is really just the flow of your paragraph. You know, how one sentence flows into the next one. Definitely the connection between your ideas. Again, it's kind of similar to what I was saying about unity. In our own minds, we understand the connection between all of our ideas. You know, we know how things fit together, but again, we can't make that assumption just because just because we understand something, our reader is going to understand it. Okay, let's see what our book says about coherence when we click on it. Okay, oh yeah, the quality that enables an audience to follow. Oh yeah, okay, the quality that enables an audience to follow a text and see the connections among ideas, sentences, and paragraphs. Again, see the connections among ideas, sentences, and paragraphs. Connection, okay? Flow. The goal is to create unified paragraphs that flow smoothly, okay? So now we're up to two characteristics, right? Unity, which is, you know, all of your idea, or excuse me, all of your sentences, you know, being you know, being built around this one, or being built to serve this one main idea. So now we're talking about coherence, flow, connection. Okay, and then I think our book puts it pretty well. All right, the quality that enables an audience to follow a text and see the connections among ideas, sentences, and paragraphs. All right, and when you all get to the end of the semester, and you're doing your final assessment, or you've done your final assessment, and now we as faculty, we're evaluating it. This is one of the things we look at. Okay, we certainly look at paragraph unity, right? And we certainly look at the flow of a paragraph, and we just want to see these skills, you know, starting to emerge. All right, and one of the ways that we achieve coherence is, you know, just the repetition of keywords, nouns, pronouns. Okay, um not that long, this is the example from our text. Not that long ago, blogs were one of those annoying buzzwords that you could safely get away with ignoring. The word blog, it works as both a noun and a verb, is short for weblog. All right, now this is what I would see in papers, especially first drafts. Not that long ago, blogs are one of those annoying buzzwords that you could safely get away with ignoring. It is short for weblog. Okay, it is short for weblog, right? And you know, there's nothing inherently wrong with that, but it's just in order to enhance the coherence of that paragraph, you know, some repetition is effective. And when I say repetition, I don't mean like just repeating the same idea. I mean kind of using you know, the same word to really emphasize what you're saying. Okay, the word blog is short for weblog. It was coined in '97 to describe a website where you could post daily scribblings, journal style, about whatever you like, mostly critiquing and linking to other articles online that may have sparked your thinking. Unlike a big media outlet, bloggers, okay, blogs can be about anything: politics, sex. I'll skip down a little bit. Politics, sex, baseball, haiku, car repair. There are blogs about blogs, okay? So repetition is a good way to achieve coherence, okay? Or, and for me, now I know there aren't many words, synonyms for blog, but sometimes, okay, sometimes you can achieve coherence. Instead of repeating one word, you can use synonyms, right? And synonyms are what? You know, different words with the same meaning. Predictably, the love of cinema has waned. People still like going to the movies, and some people still care about and expect something special, necessary from a film. That was, I read this morning, I went over this morning with the class, and it didn't sound right then, and that still doesn't sound, just that last part necessary, but we'll roll with it, okay? And wonderful films are still being made, but one hardly finds anymore, at least among the young, distinctive cinephilic love of movies, which is not simply love of, but a certain taste in films, okay? Synonyms. Synonyms are your friend, okay? Synonyms are your friend, okay? And the thing is, without coherence, people still like going to them, okay? Some people care about and expect something special, necessary from it, okay? And some wonderful ones are being made. So if we insert words like that, okay, it disrupts our coherence. All right. So now, aside from repetition and using synonyms, parallel structure. Okay. Here's just a short example of paragraphs of parallel structure. When I was all those years ago. Okay. This sentence, okay. This sentence lacks parallel structure. Okay. And parallel structure is just using the same grammatical format throughout a paragraph. Okay. When I was a kid, I loved swimming. Playing, and to ride. So if we were to make this, if we were to use parallel structure and make our paragraph more coherent, now we're talking. Okay. Now we're talking. So parallel structure, swimming, playing, riding. Okay. And you're just keeping it consistent, keeping your grammatical structure consistent throughout the paragraph. Okay. Let's look at our book. Okay. Putting similar items into the same grammatical structure helps readers see the connection among those elements and follow your sentences and your thoughts. Again, just the important parts of this, right? Grammatical structure helps readers see the connection among those elements and follow your sentences and your thoughts. Okay? Because that's what you're asking your reader to do. Follow my thoughts. Okay? And your reader can't do that, if your thoughts are all over the place, meaning your paragraph lacks unity, or they can't do that if they don't see a clear connection between the points that you're going to make, or they won't be able to follow if your paragraph doesn't flow smoothly. Okay, they might just check out, or they might disengage, from what you're reading. It's like, man, this is like, I don't see how these ideas connect to one another, or the writing doesn't flow that well. This is really a chore to read. Okay. The disease was bubonic plague, present in two forms. One that infected the bloodstream, causing buboes and internal bleeding, and was spread by contact. Okay, was spread by contact. And a second, more virulent pneumonic type that affected the lungs and was spread by respiratory infection. Okay, and was spread by, Okay, again, parallelism. Okay, so lethal was the disease that cases were known of persons going to bed well and dying before they woke, of doctors catching the illness at bedside and dying before the patient, of persons going to bed well and dying before they woke, of doctors catching the illness at a bedside and dying before the patient. Again, keeping the parallel of persons, of doctors, dying before they woke, dying before the patient. Okay, so lethal was the need some. I don't have any water in here. So lethal was the disease, so rapidly did it spread. Okay, repetition, using synonyms, parallel structures. Okay, and then finally, transitions. When it comes to paragraph coherence, transitions are your best friend. Okay, transitions are your best friend when it comes to paragraph coherence. And I've heard people call transition like word glue or sentence glue or idea paste, whatever. Okay, that's what they do. They connect our ideas. All right. Transitions help readers follow your train of thought. Transitions help readers follow your train of thought. Okay. Move from sentence to sentence, paragraph to paragraph, because we want our paragraphs to be unified, of course, but we also want our entire paper to be unified. And we want, our paragraphs to be coherent. And we also want our entire paper to be coherent. Okay. And, the way we achieve, or one of the ways we achieve this is, using transitions. Okay. And our textbook gives us this great list. All right. And if you look at the bold, it just shows the job that you want the comparison, or excuse me, that you want the transition to perform. And then, here's some transitions. Okay. Now, think about transitions. I do want you to use them. Okay. But I want you to use the right tool for the job, meaning make sure you're using a transition to like signal the relationship between your ideas that you want to show. Like if it's this is actually, we're going to be using these a lot. All right. Actually, these are great ones for narratives. Okay, especially this one showing the passage of time. Okay. After, as soon as, at first, at the same time, meanwhile, whatever. Okay. Again, I just say this, good people. Make sure you're using the right tool for the job. I can't stress that enough, because sometimes people use transitions, but they don't necessarily pick them at random, but it's just like just use the transition that fits, that shows the relationship you want to show between your ideas. Okay, let's look at some. Boom. Julia Alvarez. Okay, uses several transitions to show time and to move her ideas along. Yolanda. Okay, Yolanda, the third of the four girls, became a school teacher, but not on purpose. Bam. Transition showing the passage of time. Okay, just says transition. Okay. For years after graduate school, she wrote down poet under her profession in questionnaires and income tax forms. Okay. And later, another transition showing the passage of time. She later amended it to writer slash teacher. Finally, in years, okay, again, just using transitions to show the passage of time. And why I was saying that would be a good one for you all in the essay that you're writing, because you all are writing personal essays, and I'm assuming that whatever you're talking about took place over the span of you know some time, whether it was a week, a year, some months or whatever. But I think using these transitions that mark passage of time, or a change in time, change in place or whatever, those would be great for us. And you can even start, bam, our textbook tells us, and this is a good strategy, you can use transitions to start a paragraph. Okay, let's say hypothetically, you wrote a paragraph about, spending that summer at your grandmother's house. Okay, but the next paragraph, this is the start of the next paragraph. Now you want to discuss going home. Okay, so this will be our transitional phrase. After spending the summer with my grandparents, or, once I graduated from high school, right? Or, after I left GM, and, things like that, once I got out of the hospital, all right, and then go. But again, transitions, parallelism, repetition, these are all strategies that help your paragraphs flow. And then they, provide your reader with an explanation of how your ideas connect, or not an explanation, but just they help your reader, and help you as a writer go from point to point, or even paragraph to paragraph. Okay, and then let me click back in these slides real quick. Here's a paragraph. Here's a paragraph right here. Okay, college can be difficult for first year students. Certainly can. It's difficult for all students, but definitely first year students. Okay, college can be difficult for first year students. Some struggle to adjust. The classes are harder and longer. Choosing a major is confusing. Students have to pay for their own books. Students have to pay for room and board. It can be very expensive. All of this should be taken into consideration before going to school. Okay. Choppy sentences. Okay. Connection isn't all that clear between the ideas. Okay. There we go. College can be difficult for first year students, and many of them struggle to adjust to a new environment. Should say adjust to a new environment and new responsibilities. Another strategy for coherence that's not in our book, sometimes it's just filling in the blanks. Many of them struggle to adjust to a new environment and new responsibilities. Okay. In college, classes are harder and longer. Here's our here's a transition. Additionally, choosing a major can get confusing due to all of the interesting programs schools offer. Okay. Another transition. Furthermore, all right. Another one. Aside from paying for each class they take, students have to pay for their own books, along room and board. All right. So again, these transitions help you go from this point to that point, or they help you smoothly connect your ideas, help you smoothly connect your sentences. And then, as we saw in this example, help you smoothly connect your paragraphs. And then our book gives us another example as a result. Okay. So now, good people. And then this next slide, it really just repeats, what the book says about strategies for achieving coherence. Transitions, repetition of keywords. Pronouns is not in the book, but pronouns is just, look, in our book, right? Trevor Noah. Okay. Try switching up, pronouns and proper nouns. When I say pronouns, I mean like he, she, them, they, all that good stuff. And then when I say proper nouns, Trevor Noah is a proper noun. Okay. Let's look at our example. Dean Witherspoon agreed to meet with the students next week. He was interested in hearing their ideas about new regulations. And maybe the next sentence will begin, all right, the dean said. So instead of like he, all through the paragraph, try to alternate. Okay. Not pronouns and proper nouns. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And now, oh, here's some transitions too. Okay. Now, okay, I'm just gonna, we'll talk about this and I'll say a little bit about development and then that'll be that. All right. Now, again, my people, look at this. Look at this, man. See, I haven't been lying to you guys. Okay. When I say there are paragraphs may be long or short, and there are no strict rules about how many sentences are necessary for a well-developed paragraph. So again, folks, cast off all that stuff you learned about 3 to 5, 4 to 7, 5 to 6, whatever. Okay. And replace that with unity, coherence, and then I'll give you the third characteristic in a second here. Okay. Paragraphs may be long or short, and there are no strict rules about how many sentences a paragraph or how many sentences are necessary for a well-developed paragraph. But, okay, a couple of things to remember about starting new paragraphs. First thing, new idea, new paragraph. New idea, new paragraph. Okay. And even when we're writing a narrative, new phase of your life, new activity, new event, new location, um, just any change, whether it's scenery or action, start a new paragraph. Okay, start a new paragraph. Okay. So new idea, new paragraph, definitely. Okay, I'm gonna skip excuse me a second, a new speaker. Maybe you're writing about maybe you're writing about something and it's running kind of long. Okay. You're not necessarily switching topics. It's like, there's more I want to say about this. It's fine. Our new paragraph. It's fine to break up a giant paragraph into 2 paragraphs or 3 if you need. And then finally start a new paragraph, when you just want to give your reader a moment to pause. Okay. Like if you're writing a paragraph and it looks like it's the length of a page, okay, break it up. Break it up. One helpful strategy, when doing your papers is this is when you get your paper done. You want to shrink it down some. And now you're not reading your paragraphs right now. You're just looking at the length of them. Okay. And if you have one that's really long, okay, go back to normal size, read that paragraph. And I'm not saying that you should change that paragraph, but I am saying like give it a second look. Okay, maybe there is something that needs to be taken out, or maybe that paragraph can be broken down into several paragraphs. And the same thing, if you have a paragraph that's too short, okay, maybe more detail can be added. Okay. And that's kind of like a segue into the next and final point about paragraphing. So we have unity, we have coherence, and the third characteristic is development. Okay, development. And sometimes students will get mad at me when they ask me, well, Professor Norwood, how long should this paragraph be? And I'm like, your paragraph should be adequately developed. Okay. What does that mean? Figure it out. No. All right. Development answers the question, what does my reader need to know? Okay. What does my reader need to know? I meant to keep going up here. What does my reader need to know? Okay. And that question is going to determine what details go into a paragraph. Okay. So when we talk paragraph development, we're essentially saying, does this paragraph have enough detail? Okay. A good paragraph provides enough details to develop its main point, to fill out and support that point. Okay. Enough details to support the main point. Couple ways. Okay. Couple ways for us to develop our paragraphs. This one's great. Descriptive language. Descriptive language is just language that evokes the senses, right? Touch, taste, sight, hearing, smell. And what now? Your reader, they're not going to be able to smell what you smell. Okay, they're not going to be able to see what you saw, but you can use your words to paint pictures for them. Okay, you can use your words to paint pictures for them. That's a great way to develop paragraphs in a narrative essay. Okay, and then here's another one, narration, of course. This is going to be our main mode of writing for this essay. Okay. In this paragraph, it's a bit long by standards we may have learned in the past, but again, free yourself from thinking about paragraphs in terms of like their length. Okay. And then, okay, again, folks, unity, coherence, development. These are our main characteristics of a successful paragraph. Okay. And then the last two sections are by intros and conclusions. We kind of talked about those when we talked about the prompt for this assignment. Okay. Now, kind souls of English 1060 who have so graciously joined me this evening. Okay. I'm back on D2L and I'm in the week 4 module. Okay. Why is your start at 8:30, man? Your class ends at 6. All right. Again, just want to go through this material real quick and then that'll be that. All right. Annotation samples. This is more about more active reading stuff. Okay. Common rules, common use rules, these are Sean McLeod videos, the guy that I talked about a little bit about last week when we we had our sentence structure, session. Okay. And here's just a link. Okay. Once a paragraph, all that good stuff. All right. Just give you more stuff to think about. And then, okay, these are more of the same, just explanations. All right. And this one, it's like a little automated slideshow that you can go through. Let's see if it'll pick up. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Piece and the explain piece. Include each of these pieces
You
of
can
the
go through that
pie
on your
to
own.
create a fully Okay, the point piece of the pie should be stated in the
Okay, let me
topic
get rid of
sentence.
this.
Your topic sentence.
There we go. Okay. Okay. These are the slides we just covered, and this is me on video going through the full explanation of these slides. And then finally, discussion question and then reading questions. All right. So now, good people, like I said before at the beginning of this session, all right, today is our last session, our only session of the week. Wednesday, get those papers in. Okay, get the first draft of your instructor chosen essay uploaded. All right. And then we're back to our regularly scheduled program. Get your reading in, get these reading questions done, knock this discussion question out. Okay. Any questions for me?
Hey, sir, can I ask you a quick question? How did you like the book?
Oh, I liked it.
Nothing exciting though? Nothing,
Yeah. This is
I mean, truthfully, I'm just kind of curious.
yeah, no, this is my, I think it's my third time, reading it. I like it. And then it's, in comparison to some of the ones we've had in the past, man, book is solid gold, right? Because we've had some books that, I as the instructor, I struggled to finish them. So I know my students were struggling with them. But no, I like this one. Okay. And then, it has some really, really touching parts. And then, it also has some informative parts. Okay.
I
Like
real,
if we're in a face-to-face session, like Monday will be the book discussion day, and then Wednesday would be the our day where we're focused more on writing. But
it was,
yes, I like it.
it was very insightful. I know,
Absolutely.
I remember when my, out of my whole life, I think the only thing I ever knew about anything related to apartheid was either Lethal Weapon or when Nelson Mandela was
Yeah.
released.
Yeah.
But I felt like I got more educated
Absolutely.
on this, and I was really impressed with how he articulated every single little
Definitely. You know,
detail.
because he lived it. He grew up like during apartheid, and then the years after. So we get a firsthand account, which is always beneficial.
But it's so weird to see it from someone else's point of view, especially being an adult, and he's writing this from adolescent's point of view.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It actually was better than I hate reading. I hate reading anything. I hate reading direction.
All right.
But actually, yeah, I couldn't stop. I was just like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, what's going on next?
This is it's one of those books where you do want to see what happens.
But I do know is if you follow the guideline of the way you have it set up,
Hmm?
it keeps it more interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
It's just
It's like watching a show where you watch your episode and then it kind of gets you ready for the next episode, but you got to wait a week. Or you used to have to wait a week, like before like Netflix and all that.
that was yeah, it is. It's a really good book, super good book.
Nice. Okay. Very good.
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't think at first when we first got it, the first few chapters I was not interested. Now the last from 35 to 74,
Oh yeah.
I think I got mad at his mom, so I just was uninterested. And then the last couple of chapters, I was like that. I'm not even gonna lie. I went to chapter 7 or chapter 8, I think,
Okay.
because I wanted to see what
Yeah.
happened.
No,
But
that's
I'm like Brian. I hate if it's not something that I'm interested in. I don't like reading. So now I'm doing the Audible and like reading along, so I can do like
nice.
go through my book, leave notes, stuff like that. And I think that made it easier for me. But I wasn't interested in the book when I first started reading it. I'm not interested in anything that has to do with segregation and racism. I'm just not a fan.
Okay. Yeah. I think these are stories that have to be told though. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, and South apartheid is still a fresh wound, in South Africa, where, this was in all of our lifetimes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, I'm glad, that, and you don't, I think, however you feel about the book, it shows that you're engaging. Whether you have a favorable opinion of it or you have an unfavorable opinion about it. It's just that I think in order to formulate either of those, you have to engage it. So that's where it starts. That's what this class is all about, engaging the text. So my hats off to both of you all, man. But keep reading though. It gets Trevor gets
More
himself into some
interesting.
stuff.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, it's like nonstop,
I see.
nonstop, all the
He
way.
opened up.
Yeah. He gets it. I mean, I'm not gonna say it hasn't really started yet, but he gets into some stuff, man. And the thing is, I liked his mom. She's all about that tough love. She's like, Trevor, you
Yeah.
got yourself into this, so
But
you're gonna have to get
it's
yourself out.
starting to make sense why she's the way she is. Like
Yes.
learning about her, like when he was going through his family, learning about her history. That woman had a
Absolutely.
hard enough life, so it's kind of hard to
Yes.
love somebody when you don't know how it feels to be loved. If that makes sense.
Yes. And really, she says, Trevor, like, hey, you gotta live in this world. You gotta live in this world. I can't be there to hold your hand and get you out of everything. So yeah, she just let him be when he was going through whatever he was going through. Okay.
It was funny though. The one thing I could relate to, and it's like I don't know what the age range is in this class, but I know it being 48, and the way his mom was like my grandma
Yeah.
raised me, and I couldn't stop laughing. It was like I wasn't laughing at him per se, but and everything his mom did and how how she raised him, and it's like,
Yeah,
get-
man.
saying it, it's
I
like
mean,
my childhood all over again.
yeah,
It was
I could certainly relate to like those hidings he was talking about.
Oh.
Yeah, I got a few good hidings when I was younger, just for stuff I used to get into. So yeah, so I'm glad, that we're making some connection to our book. Okay. And then I think when for me personally, like when I look at Trevor Noah now, like the Trevor Noah, just from starting from where he came from to being like this mega star now, right? That's a story in itself. Right. So yeah, it's interesting stuff. And I thank you all for sharing that stuff. I wish we could have more of these dialogues in like a face-to-face setting. Okay.
It was good. It was good. It's a good book.
Yeah. Okay. And then our class is small, so it'll be definitely like an intimate discussion if you need. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Very good, folks.
Hakuna
Okay.
Matata, Mackenzie.
Yeah.
I have a question. You are not having class on Wednesday?
No class on Wednesday.
Okay, sorry. I
No,
missed
wait.
like the
Let me
first
rephrase that because I'm still recording. Your class Wednesday is finishing your paper. There's no Zoom session on Wednesday.
Okay.
Okay, 'cause I already submitted my paper, so.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah, get that in, and then I'll see you all Monday.
Okay.
All right.